want to give into your angel. I'm not someone to get carried away. I'm just giving all the way to find the answer. Oh, and give it all. I'm putting it back to the basics, to the basics. Oh, I thought I wasted.
So today we're going to be working on pickled red onions. Pickling has been around for a long time. It's a way to conserve vegetables or produce in a way that it will remain feasible for a long period of time. So what we're working on today is going to be the pickled red onion. For this recipe, all you need is 1 red onion, a little bit of red wine vinegar, some crushed bay leaves. These I got from the Mexican store. You can get them anywhere. A little peppercorns. You can use black, white, red, whatever you want. Kosher salt. And of course a little bit of sugar just to make them a little bit sweet. Utensils, you're going to need a pot, something to measure water, and a stove. So that's about it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. First thing I'm going to do is take my red wine vinegar and open it up. I'm using red wine vinegar because it helps keep the color of the red onion nice and vibrant. I'm going to measure out 1/2 cup in my measuring cup. This is all I need for this recipe. So just measure out 1/2 cup. Next I'm going to pour it into my saucepan. Once it's in there, just let it sit for a little bit. Now I'm going to measure out 2 cups of water. I'm going to add the 2 cups of water to the vinegar. This is going to help dilute the vinegar so it's not super acidic. You don't want it to be too acidic, so make sure you dilute it a little bit before you go on to the next step. So it's basically 1/2 cup to 2 cups. So 1/2 cup vinegar, 2 cups water. That's all you need. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar. This is going to keep it nice and sweet. So that way it's not super acidic and not super tart. Add your sugar to the remainder of the water and the vinegar. Next you're going to add some crushed bay leaves. Now we're going to use our whole peppercorns. Instead of ground black pepper, we're using whole peppercorns. It's easier to pick out later on. Add the peppercorns to the mixture. Finish it off with a little bit of kosher salt. Now we're going to move over to the stove. I'm going to turn the stove on to medium. That's all you need. You don't want to go too high because you don't want to boil this out too fast. Put the liquid on the stove and let it come to a nice little simmer. Once it's at a simmer, you're going to let it go for another about, I would say, 4 minutes to 5 minutes just to make sure that the sugar dissolves and incorporates. What you're doing is basically making like a chemical reaction. The sugar and the vinegar have like some kind of chemical reaction that helps it almost like produce like a different kind of aroma and a different kind of acidity and sweetness all in one. Next, roll your onion. Just plain, you don't need to do that. That's just for effects. I'm going to take my onion and peel it. So what I do is just take both ends off with a nice sharp knife, split it down the middle, peel the outer layer. After I'm done peeling it, I'm going to discard the waste, because you don't want it on your cutting board anyway because it gets in the way, to be honest with you. So now with a nice sharp knife, we're going to take 1/4 inch slices. You're going to slice both onions 1/4 inch all the way down. If you don't have a sharp knife, I suggest you get one. If you don't, I should say, if you have a knife but it's not sharp, you better learn how to sharpen it. Good thing there is a thing they call YouTube where you can search how to sharpen your knife, but you need a nice sharp knife for this part. You can see the perfect slice all the way through. Make sure it's perfect, that way it cures or pickles in the same amount of time. I'm using a nice clear glass container. I'm going to put all my onions in there and push them to make sure they're nice and flat. I'm going to pour my liquid in. As you can see, the liquid is still hot. That's what makes this recipe different than any recipe you'll find on here. Most people would just go cold and let it go. But since it's hot, it's going to even pickle even faster, and it actually intensifies the flavor. If you could only smell what it smells like right now with all that aroma, it's beautiful. You can see how it's already starting to pickle because it is hot. You can set your container anywhere in a nice warm area. Seal it nice and tight and just let it go. So there you are, simple, easy pickled red onions. Now you can store this anywhere, somewhere nice and warm, even in your refrigerator. It'll sit for weeks at a time. It's just going to get even more intense with the flavor. The sweetness of the sugar adds a lot to that red onion flavor. You can use this on a bunch of different dishes, on even scrambled eggs. I mean, simple dishes. you don't need to be super creative to be able to use this. Hopefully you like this video. As always, leave me any comments, suggestions down below. Help us out by subscribing, sharing, hitting the reminder so you get all those notifications. Until next week, love you guys. Bye.